From Dallas, Texas, this is Spool, hosted by Dr. Nils Roemer, Dean of the Bass School at UT Dallas.
Today's guest has built a career around a very simple belief: relationships and getting them right. Steve Ramona spent more than 20 years in Family's Health Club business before becoming an entrepreneur, podcast, television host, and partnership strategist. Today he works with founders, inventors, on any number of projects: renewable energy, smart cities, data centers. There's very little that you don't touch. But all of it is built around relationships, and I find that really, really fascinating. We're going to get back to that. Along the way, he has also interviewed more than 1,000 entrepreneurs and business leaders while developing a philosophy built on service, leadership, and meaningful relationships. Steve, welcome to Spool. We're really thrilled to have you here. There's a pile in that quick introduction. Lots of interesting things, but one of the big themes running through, right, from family business all the way to today is relationship. And I hope that we can unpack that, the meaning that it carries in particular for you. But maybe if you don't mind, I mean, we like to walk ourselves always a little bit back. I mean, you didn't have that probably master planned some 30, 40 years ago when you were still, doing very different things. So the 18-year-old version of you, Steve, how did that look like? We're doing this also always with the view of, this being a university where lots of students are trying to figure out who they are and what they become. So let's walk us back to the 18-year-old version of yourself and what your dreams and aspirations were at that time.
Well, that's where it all started. I wanted to be a professional football player.
We all wanted to,
Yeah, yes, exactly. I was 5'8" and too small and too slow and all that. And so my family had launched a health club. Okay. And my cousin, who was the president, said, hey, why don't you come work for us? You need money in the summer before you go to college. I was going to play community college football. And I started working there, and I started developing relationships with 40, 50, 60-year-olds, some extremely successful, driving Jaguars, BMWs, Mercedes.
Those are good cars. I'm there with you,
Beautiful cars, right. But they were making lots of money, but I was having conversations as a relationship, not as an 18-year-old to a 40, 50, 60-year-old. I learned quickly, Niles, the power of building relationships, because then he started bringing me tips, buying me dinner, taking me to lunch, all kinds of tips and resources, and I grew pretty fast as an 18-year-old.
Impressive, but it seems also that growing up in that particular way and building relationships out of concrete, relationships with individuals, family, extended friendships, and so on and so forth, became then a bit of a model for you that, unlike other people, though, you were able to scale up. It's one thing to say I have close relationships with friends and family. It's an entirely different one to build this into a philosophy for one's own entrepreneurship, right? I mean, usually we struggle with scale in between here a little bit. What does that mean now on that level that you operate?
It just gave me the opportunity now of building opportunities, building businesses, being a founder, a startup with a number of businesses I launched. And I just went back to the health club customers and clients, members, because I've built so many relationships, thousands of people, because I would walk through the gym and, hey, Niles, how's your workout? Hey, how's your new baby? Hey, Jenny, how's your new job? I know you got a new job. Those conversations, instead of, hey, have a great day, Niles. Hey, Niles, have a great workout. They started developing into deeper conversations to where now it was like, if I asked for something or they asked for something, we'd help each other out. Doing that for 20 years, people joked around with me now. If I got married, I would have to rent one of the football stadiums. I knew so many people.
There's an idea,
I didn't do it, thank God, because I couldn't afford a 40,000 person wedding.
Oh, that's the reason. I see. Okay.
Yeah, it was a financial, plus many other reasons. But it was great going out to dinner with friends, and people would walk up, hey, Steve, good to see you. Hey, thanks for a great gym. And they're like, where are you meeting all these people? I said, that's work. Right. These are members.
Wow.
And I started to see the power of this.
So tell me, though, and I could see how that would have more organically grown out of your, early on experiences, but there got to be now a point, in particular in this day and age, where we all talk about the challenges to building these relationships, the distractions, the mediated access, I would have loved to have you here. Maybe you would have loved to have me there. But, instead we're doing it this way. So how is that kind of culture of relationships and connections, how does that translate into our kind of more remote existence these days?
I developed a principle called the ASLA principle, ASLA. Ask as you're conversing with people, building a relationship. Shut up, listen, and ask. And that bridge between shut up and listen, people laugh, you smile, people smile. And people ask me, why do you say shut up and listen? Because if I shut up, aren't I listening? And I say, go to a Zoom room when you're at a networking meeting, a business meeting, and their screen goes black. They could be at the bathroom, they could be answering the door. I'm not judging, but are they truly listening to what I'm saying? Probably not. So when you're in front of people like with you today, I need to use the ASLA principle and listen to you and build this show or whatever we're doing, and it allows me to make major impacts in people's lives. If I don't know them, I can't do that.
That's presumably also a little bit the allure of podcasts, right, like these, that it brings you into conversation like today with you, a person that otherwise chances are we wouldn't necessarily run into each other, but I'm going to have opportunity to ask you some questions, listen to you, learn something, and kind of think about, this encounter and how that maybe changed. But they're harder to come by. I mean, these days, you have lots of short meetings. So it's like you said, a lot of my meetings, these days are exactly like, quick shake hands and moving on and that kind of things. So it's easier if you're building a real relationship. So I see, for example, the difference between having still been more in the classroom and, having been in front of students, building those relationships and seeing them rather than now as a dean seeing them just when they're graduating more or less and hooding them, which is a wonderful ceremony and we make that very meaningful. Yeah. But scale is a challenge and all that. But I think the way you're thinking about this is not just simply an issue of relationships. You have that idea of serving, right? That's a really critical aspect to what you're doing. So it's not just accomplishment and selling, but serving is an incredibly important component. Can you speak to that? Because I think that means also, if I understood this correctly, that you kind of your approach to everything is a little different. If you kind of lining yourself up on the side of service is very different than on the side, let's say, of sell. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I use 3 words when I talk to people or in my mind. Transformational, not transactional. And audience, if you just write that down, remember that when you meet people, because I want to leave people better off than when I first met them. We've heard that many times, but I live that. That's my goal. Do I do it 100% of the time? No, nothing's 100%. But today, Nils, I want to be your best guest possible, give you the best information, have the best energy, and make that impact. If that's intentional in your mindset, you'll be extremely successful like I am.
Sounds like it, but it just also means that you really have to be willing to be there, right? And you have to listen first and do all of that. But you said not transactional, but transformational. That's also like another line that has a good ring to it. But I think there's a lot in there because it speaks not just simply to the process, but also to the outcome, right? You want this to be a very different type of an outcome. You're calling it a transformation, but one that presumably transforms you and the person you're interacting with, right? It's not you just walking away with a win and say, I did it, but one that in lots of ways, right? Do I understand this correctly? Transforms.
You're absolutely right, and I thank you for saying outcome, because that's the stumbling point for people. They're trying to make an outcome. When you can transform people by just telling that mother, hey, what a beautiful baby. I say it all the time when I see a beautiful baby. And they light up for 5, 10, 30 seconds. Or I spend 45 minutes with somebody and I change their business. I give them some resources and tips. The level of the outcome is not the goal. It's just having an outcome. But here's the power of this. And I learned this 3 years ago. I did millions of dollars in partnerships. I didn't receive anything. $10,000. And I'm not complaining, but I should have not, I didn't ask. That's why in the ASLA principle, there's that second ask, because as I impact somebody, and I transform them, they're naturally most of the time going to go, wow, Steve, thank you so much. How can I help you? Well, I need 200 million here. I need to find a community leader here. I need to find this here. And a lot of the times my success rate's much higher because the level of energy's here, it's really high because I've already impacted them. I made them better than when I first met them. So either you asking or organically, or the universe. I'm a faith guy. God will reward you. The problem people have now is they don't know when, where, or how. I don't care about that. I'm going to do a great show for you today, give you great information. How will that impact me? Maybe tomorrow, maybe 5 years from now. Maybe somebody listens and we never hear.
But that's
how we made that.
You know, coming back to, you just picked on me just a minute ago using the word outcome, right? An outcome also tends to have a very short time perspective, right? If you're looking for outcomes, then you want to have that almost instantaneous gratification or that instantaneous win of sorts, whereas you're quite right. I mean, whatever that is, what we do today, how it changes us or not, we don't even know. I mean, there's no way for us to truly anticipate what a transformational encounter looks like, right? It could happen today. And I think it's probably fair to say, Steve, if, you know, that's why I wanted to look back at the 18-year-old version of you, that here and there are probably now moments when you look back at something that happened God knows how many years ago, and you only now realize the impact that it had on you, right? So the kind of transformational aspect is kind of an open-ended one. In other words, you can feel like, oh, this was not transformational, but then it may very well still be at some other point.
Yeah, one of the lessons I learned in the gym, my cousin taught me, Jeff, was we always said, hey, staff at the front desk, say people's names. And they'd come to me and Jeff and go, there's 4,000 people coming every day. How do I remember everybody's names? Look on the computer screen.
Right.
Hey, Tony, have a great workout. And the more you do that, you practice it, you'll remember, one. But two, people never went to me and said, oh, you just looked at the computer screen. That's how you remember my name. That never happened once over thousands of internet, and it never will. That's why I always ask people's names. Hey, what was your name again? I met you a week ago. People don't care about that. You ask them, they show you care.
You may have just about convinced me to look forward to visiting the gym again, you know, something that's almost impossible, you know, usually associated with pain, fatigue, and any other kind of illnesses. But hey, I'll be cheerful tomorrow morning and see what happens, you know, and kind of try to give it a try. Still, I mean, you got to recognize that what you do and how you operate is a bit unusual. People do not usually talk about their successes along the lines of relationships, of transformation, or they talk about always learning, right? That's another one of your kind of key principles. So what are, in your mind, if you don't mind me asking, what are other people getting wrong? Or what are, if we had to condense this, what are the, it seems in the end of the day, what you're advocating are actually things for which I don't have to like entirely retool myself. I just, in lots of ways, seem to, first, what was it, shut up and listen, right? Those two things, right?
Shut up and listen, ask again,
I'm afraid I've heard that one before, right?
Yeah. People are pitch slapping more every day. I get every day on LinkedIn, I get somebody, hey, your podcast, you're doing this wrong. Here, I can help you. Pay me $300. I just got one an hour ago. And audience, don't ever tell when you first meet somebody what they're doing wrong. That's not a way to start a relationship. I don't think people will marry you. If I walked up to a woman and go, well, you're not as pretty as I usually date women, but I think I'm going to marry you.
No, I'm there with you. I don't think that is a very successful line, you know?
No, so we've just got to not pitch. I know people are fearful. Gas prices are high, war, politics, bills, everything's going up, and people tell me all the time, Nils, well, I got bills to pay. I can't keep serving. Yes, you can. Because that's going to eventually lead to something that's going to help you out with your bills.
Well, you actually are pushing that point a little bit, because I read somewhere that you say, in particular after having failed somewhere, you got to start, you know, the next thing you got to think about, how can I help someone else to get yourself back organized, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great way to come back from a failure. Me and my partner lost a $20 million deal last year. We worked on for a year and a half. one of my guests on my podcast said, be human for 12 hours. And that's what I did. I ate pizza, I sat, watched a movie, quit work early. I just shut it down. But the next day, got up, me and my partner got together, and we started working on other projects. And we have other projects we're working on. Failure is going to happen. Every Mark Cuban, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, across the board, they've had failures. That's part of life. It's how you recover from those failures.
That's what
by impacting more people. If you don't build this network by impacting people and you're solo, COVID taught us that the life is not a solo world. It's not a solo opportunity. We need to collaborate, like me and you are doing today. We're doing this great show, collaborating to help impact others. We need to focus on that.
So tell me now, I mean, you seem to be having your hands on lots of things that you want to accomplish, and obviously you have done that. What are the big things now in front of you? Your name often gets associated with smart cities. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we've got an opportunity in Southern California where a gentleman's got 2,200 acres we've partnered up with, and there's nothing there. It's a dilapidated city. It needs to be rebuilt. It's near Edwards Air Force Base, has a main freeway that's going through. It's an hour north of LA. It's called California City. We call it Cal City. But we have an opportunity. He wants to build about 1,000, I believe is the number, veteran homes. So vets that are struggling. Housing is expensive in California. If we could build stuff.
That's why they all come here to Texas, you know?
Yeah, well, we could do that. We get some land.
Yeah,
We'd love to do it. But tied to a smart city is all the abilities to renewable energy, waste to energy, where we take your household waste that you're throwing into a landfill and turn that to power up your house.
How well, like talking again about, if you don't mind, smart cities and relationships. So how does that impact the design of houses, communities, open spaces? Is that also an integral part of how you're thinking about this?
Yeah, because I've got so many partners that want to work with me because I've built those relationships. When you do development like this, you need a lot of partners, team members that you trust. We found a great team that's working with us. And that's powerful because that's one of the faults of a business. And college students, you need to hear this. You need to be a good team member. If it's not a good place to be and you can't be a good team member, find another place because that's important. Your boss, manager, whatever title you want to give them, they've got to build a culture where it's collaboration, not discipline.
But let me get on, like how do we design? So if we have goals, right? You've been thriving by promoting relationships. So, in lots of ways, it wouldn't be difficult to recognize that it's a common good, right? If we had a society that was more structured around strong relationships, then maybe we would be a little bit better off. So the question is then, how do we design an environment or a smart city to promote relationships?
Servant leadership.
All right.
Showing people leadership so they copy you. They see me going out. And I use the example of Barack Obama. I interviewed somebody that was in his cabinet, and Barack Obama would go down to the janitor and help him clean the bathroom and make sure he said his name. And after let's say it's Tony, he'd walk by, hey, Tony, this is the janitor of the White House. This is the President of the United States. It's a great leadership skill because what's that guy going to work? He's going to work harder. He's going to be on time. He's going to be, friendly. He's going to be a great employee because he's recognized. That's what's missing in this world because people are struggling and they think to go, hey, you got to do it this way or you're not part of our team. But let's listen to our people.
But what you're suggesting, the beautiful thing about it is I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. to make it become part of some club or some routine or another. I can, if I by the time I say, goodbye to you, I can start doing it, right? I mean, there's nothing that I need to acquire or scale or do otherwise. I can be attentive, I can be responsive, I can listen. Well, my wife will enjoy this so much when I come home tonight, I'm gonna have a good.
Wives love me when I talk about this. That is true. And making employees autonomous. Have them come to you and go, we have ours. Hey, we got this idea. Go run with it. Let's see if it works.
Really important.
Instead of, oh, that won't work.
Really also important. I appreciate you like emphasizing so much this. I think I recognize that also when you talk to students, that these same skills that you are promoting so strongly are really critical, because if a student has a sense that you actually listen to them, I mean, this is a big institution, like a big environment, with lots and lots of folks going through. So if we succeed just making the students sometimes think that we're paying attention, that we're listening, that we are thinking, oh, you have a good idea. I think that's those very same things that you are emphasizing, that for them can be really, really transformative sometimes. So in other words, what we need as individuals, as societies, are not really radical changes, but we just need to dig into some core qualities: relationships, communication, and a little bit of a willingness also to continuously learn. So what are you trying to learn now, Steve? Where are you? The big conversation on AI is probably the one.
Yeah, AI is a big thing. I think the other thing to learn is communication. I just read an incredible book called The Next Conversation, incredible, by a lawyer of all people. But it was interesting. It's a New York bestseller, and it's sold a lot of books. But I know communication's missing, because you said earlier about virtual.
Right.
I'd love to be in person. But we can't just do that. But how can we communicate properly with each other without putting each other down, without putting these barriers or obstacles in the way, being very transparent, being very humble. Niles, I made a mistake. You're right. I did this. And you said it earlier with teaching. I'd be an incredible teacher, because the ASLA principle, asking, shut up. Tony, that's a fantastic idea. Hey, class, what do you think? Should we do our test on Friday instead of Tuesday? You're going to get students falling in love with you, I think. You know better than I do, because you're in education. So.
No. I think I think, again, it's the same no matter whether it's in a gym, in a classroom, on a subway, or at an airport. I mean, it's the same thing. You can kind of move through all these spaces without acknowledging anybody, or you can, be engaging and kind of willing to listen, and thereby also maybe build relationships or learn something from people that you wouldn't have done otherwise. But is AI disrupting all our abilities, or will AI help us in any of
My
this?
philosophy on AI, I'm not the experts that I've interviewed, but I've learned from a lot of them. You're a little bit younger than me, but I think it was 97 when the internet started.
You are so much the best, guest that I had on my show. Say it again. Let's have it on record.
He's so much.
Thank you.
He's so much younger than me. But I remember when the internet started. I'm 65, so I was thinking in my 20s or whatever, 30s. The same thing they're talking about AI today was 97. Oh, this internet thing. We don't need websites. Oh my God, it's going to be evil.
No, that's
Internet's
true.
changed the world.
That's true. Sometimes that almost any invention of technology has always come along with this kind of big fear and big hopes that either it solves all problems, and I think the invention of the internet also at the same time coincided with these almost messianic hopes, right? That we would become this interconnected world, that we would be these global citizens and well versed in anything and so on and so forth. While it was also at the same time, seen with great fear by many. And so I think that's part and parcel of as societies we go about encountering changes. But therefore, to say it again, if one has deeply built relationships, change is also a lot easier to deal with than if one does not have those. And I think that's maybe another kind of good way to end our conversation. Steve,
Great.
It has been a great pleasure getting to know you. So much more curious to learn about the smart city. It's a great endeavor, to think about what does it take actually to shape an environment that facilitates those very core ideas that you're inhabiting. Thank you for being on the show. All the best of you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Nils. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.